Hi everyone, Evan Tavakoli here, lawyer, business advisor, and international speaker, coming to you today from the beautiful Zurich city. And here with me is the one and only Mr. Johnny Cass. Johnny is a highly claimed international coach, speaker, leadership expert, and mentor. He has spoken to more than 400,000 people in over 40 different countries. Johnny is fascinated by human behavior and so helps accelerate businesses by using public speaking as a tool to success. Johnny, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
Good to see you in Switzerland. Finally, we have you again.
Thank you. It's always a great pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for giving your time here. I have the privilege to meet Johnny today, although he's traveling all around the world to provide exclusive trainings. And today he is providing one of those trainings to top Swiss entrepreneurs in the heart of Zurich City. And I am here to ask him a couple of questions, as a lot of people always asking me, Ewan, you are a lawyer, you're a business advisor. Why are you speaking in public? Why is that important? Or what does it make for a difference? So here I want to ask you as an expert to give the proper answer to our friends and audiences. Why is it important to have the art of public speaking as a professional, regardless of our professional field?
It's an interesting question, and I've been very fortunate now to be traveling around the world over the last 20 years and spoken in over 40 different countries with a wide variety of different cultures and worked with many different business people from all around the planet as well. Look, the bottom line is, keeping it nice and simple, is it's a very noisy, crowded market out there. So whether you're a lawyer, whether you're an entrepreneur or a business person, an IT consultant, or whatever product or service it is that you're offering, it's more than likely that you have somebody out there who's competing and doing exactly the same thing as what you are. So my belief is, in order for you to rise above that noise, you really need to be seen, and you need to now be more visible than ever before. So number one, it's a noisy market. And number two, you need to rise above that noisy market. And number three, the people who are perceived to be, let's say, sharing their message and talking about their product or service are the perceived experts. And the perceived experts also, quite frankly, end up serving more people. And by serving more people, you also end up making more money as well.
Oh, that's great. So it's not only the values, it's also the financials, and it's also the knowledge that you can share to even a bigger crowd of people, instead of just serving the clients on one-on-one basis, or just probably giving a short presentation to a smaller group of people. But then you have the possibility to share even with a bigger crowd. And who doesn't want that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're in business, again, whether you're an expert business or have a tangible product, too often I see many talented people or great products that nobody ever really hears about. Right? And I think that's a bit of a tragedy and a bit of a shame, that if you believe that you have something of value to add to the marketplace, then let's hear about it and let's know about it. And I think that speaking and sharing your message and having your voice heard, it's great fun. It's a great opportunity to make a bit of an impact on the planet, whether it's a large impact or whether it's a small impact. I mean, we know, on a bigger scale, we know of names like Richard Branson or Oprah or Ellen DeGeneres. Why? Because their voice is being heard all around the planet.
So let's say be seen and be heard.
Definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I have a second question from you. Often professionals, even if they are confident about what they can and what they know, so let's say they have the competency and they have the confidence about that, but there is a fear inside them that holds them back from stepping upon a stage or in front of other people, a fear of rejection, a fear of embarrassment. I don't know exactly, but you are the NLP expert and you are the public speaker and leadership expert. So what kind of advice do you have for these kind of people to overcome such fears?
It's an interesting question, and I think for me personally, like when I first started speaking, for example, I was sort of somewhat confident about it. I certainly wasn't very competent about it, but actually I had definitely had a fear of public speaking, and that was actually the main reason why I did it. You know, we all have fears. You, me, all of us have fears. The only question is, are we going to let those fears stop us from moving forward, or are we going to use them as the thing that helps us to move forward? So for me personally, it was actually about overcoming a fear, and public speaking is a learnt skill. So anybody can learn to do it. And some people might be watching this and thinking, well, I'm not very charismatic, or I'm not very loud and outgoing. And they're just kind of myths that people think that they need to be loud and outgoing. You don't need to be loud and outgoing. You just need to be willing to learn the skill to do it. And let's just face it, also, yeah, you are going to get it wrong at times, but, you know, that is half the fun. Half the fun is, you know, being able to share that message, get it wrong, and pick yourself up and keep moving forward. Too many people worry about what other people think about them.
Oh, yeah.
And the truth is, we're not really worrying about you. We're really only interested in ourselves. And so if we can just get over focusing on ourselves and focus on the message and focus on the vision of why we want to share that message, then we take ourselves out of the equation and you enjoy the challenge of learning, growing, messing up, and evolving.
Well, that's wonderful. So in case somebody is scared of screwing up on stage, actually then they should get rid of the fear, because it's not what that makes them become embarrassed or something, because seemingly other people actually wouldn't care or wouldn't take that so bad or serious, right?
That's right. I mean, I'm sure you've seen a speaker on the stage, and it doesn't matter how bad they are, like even if they're really, really bad, which is hardly ever happens. It happens sometimes, but very rarely. But you still admire them for getting up and giving it, as we say in Australia, a good Aussie go. So I just think at the very least you should give it a go, just for the sake of giving it a go. Now, having said that though, you know, most people are more afraid of public speaking than death. Which is interesting in and of itself. But, you know, the best way to overcome the fear is by facing the fear and accepting that you are probably going to make a mistake, but that's just a part of the process.
And there are techniques, I think, to face those fear, or I mean, you as an expert probably, are you also offering those in your trainings?
Of course. So, you know, I offer
mentoring programs.
Yeah, totally. I love working with, one of my passions is definitely working with other speakers and presenters, because I love that moment when people just connect with it and go, you know, it's okay just to show up and be yourself, and it's okay to get it wrong. And in fact, that's what people are looking for. We're not looking for perfect. We're just looking for you to share your story. And that's what I really love about that whole process there as well. It's just recognizing that you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be getting up there and just giving it a go.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I do. I have one more question. Johnnie, a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, English is not my mother tongue, or German is not my mother tongue, or whatever language that they're going to present in that language in front of the public. Or they say, oh, I have like cultural diversity, or I'm not from here. I mean, look at us. You know me, I'm a Kurdish girl from the Middle East. And then I moved to Switzerland and I live here. So I made it up to the level that I'm now speaking in front of bigger crowds, and I'm sharing my knowledge and value to a huge number of people. And look at you, okay, 10 times more successful than me, but let's see the backgrounds. You were born in Italy, raised in Australia, worked in London. Now I bumped into your presentation in Switzerland, in Zurich. And of course, there are many, many more other countries that you're presenting. So is that really a criteria? That's not my mother tongue, or I'm not from here. How do you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, I've always personally been fascinated in cultural diversity. So for me, I actually love going into different countries and understanding the subtle differences in each country. So every country has its own challenges. But let's face it, the world is much smaller these days.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, in fact, I think that people now are more open and more fascinated to be hearing stories from different people from different parts of the world. So I personally love, it's not an objection at all. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Like me being from Australia, coming to Zurich, actually makes me even more interesting. And, you know, as we both know, Kane, makes you even more exotic in those different locations as well. And people are looking for interesting and exotic people.
Absolutely.
And the other thing to bear in mind is when we talk about public speaking, I don't even talk about it necessarily getting up on a stage, but this is public speaking right now.
Exactly.
Connecting with people.
You're providing a training to a smaller group of people, right?
Yeah.
An exclusive place for a few Swiss entrepreneurs.
That's
it
right.
shouldn't be always necessarily a huge crowd.
No.
I think everybody should find his own stage.
That's
or
right.
his own number of people, right?
That's right. You can have a small tribe and be well connected. Television is a large form of public speaking. Right now on Facebook or social media is a form of public speaking. So it's not just in the traditional sense of getting up on a stage and speaking to a large audience. Sometimes at a dinner party, believe it or not, when you're sharing a story, it's still a form of public speaking and having your voice heard.
That's absolutely true, and of course I also want to connect it with that very nice quote of Kane that you just mentioned. I mean, he's not only a great friend of us, but also my coach and mentor. So Kane Minkus, he told me the very first time, as he gave me the mic and I said, but you know, I am from Iran, so what do I have to really tell here? And he said, don't forget, you are more valuable outside of your own country.
100%.
At that time, for me, it was like, what is this guy saying? But as time has passed by, I really realized that it was so true and such valuable advice. So I think with this advice, as like that grandparents closing a night story for the children, let us close it with this advice that people should not hold back because of their origin or because of their cultural diversities or language differences or probably barriers, so that this should not hold them back. I mean, examples you're seeing here and you're seeing here on the way to even greater success.
Yeah.
It is my privilege to have this interview now today with Johnnie Cass, so I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did and you learned also as much as I did. So in case you want to also reach out to Johnnie Cass, I will share his data under this link to the interview, and then don't forget to get as much value as possible from this gentleman and this expert. Johnnie, it was a great pleasure. Thank you very much, and I wish you a remaining beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Zurich.
Thanks, Ewan. Always a great pleasure. And
Thank you very
thank
much.
you everyone for listening today as well.
Have a good day.